everybody. Welcome to Susan for SLC Aquatics and our hashtag Fishroom meet and greet. Hope that you're seeing me and hearing me okay. We have a little dilemma here in our area. We're under tornado warnings and watches here and there, so we will be cutting our meeting short today, but we want to welcome everyone who has signed into the chat. I believe Mr. B's, Aquatic Express, Daryl Deemer, Sheri and Will, of course, they're present with me here today. Vanessa's here, Aqua Apprentice. We have Heather Nielsen. And if I missed any of y'all, forgive me. Sheri's going to try to help me out with the chat. But we're excited with the Fish Fam meet and greet here in Alabama. We're trying to stir up some fish hobbyists in our area who want to come out and meet from time to time, and we'll be going over a slideshow here briefly. My guest speakers did not make it due to the weather and other issues going on, but I'm glad you're here. Audio is low. Okay, let me see if I can work on that. Testing 1, 2. Did that help? It should have. Yeehaw! 1 fish, 2 fish, ROC. Hey, Liz. Yeehaw! That is sweet. But I'm going to switch over to the other camera here and introduce everyone, and y'all follow along. Let me know if the audio is really weak, but I wanted to welcome everyone with us today to the Fish Fam meet and greet. And my name is Susan Core for Susan for SLC Aquatics YouTube channel. And I'm so excited that everybody was able to be with us today. We have some handouts, so we want to make sure everybody gets their handout and a pencil, because we got some information we want to jot down. And if you haven't picked up your name tag's over here at the welcome table. And we also want you to pull a number for door prizes. We're going to have some door prizes today. And we have a swap table in the back that if you brought any fish, plants, snails, whatever, and maybe some decor. And we want to just let you all know that you are very welcome. So let me grab my flyer. So we have our little flyers with our beautiful artwork that says Saturday's meeting today. It was scheduled for 11 to 3, but because we're having bad weather and we have to be weather alert, we may have to cancel this at a spur of a moment. But we have this welcome, and we have a couple pages here, or why are we here? What are our goals? Rules, laws, and or regulations of having any kind of organized meeting. And even, you know, the fish and the plants that we bring, we have to make sure that they're legal to have here in Alabama. And we don't want to break any laws. And I was going to have a special guest, Molly Reisner, who is the organizer of the group on Facebook, All Things Aquatic in Alabama, but she couldn't make it, so we're missing her, and I'm hoping she's able to tune in. So Molly, we miss you, but please be safe. And Rick Talley, bless his heart, he really wanted to come down. This was really Rick's baby, that he really wanted us to get together and start some kind of club or group that we could meet on a regular basis here in Alabama. And we may from time to time be changing our location so that other people can participate. Aquatic Express is Donald, and Donald, forgive me, I know you're between the age of 12 and 14. He's purchased guppies from me before, and he's in the chat. And I want to give you a holler, because he's close, but he just couldn't be here. And maybe at the next meeting he can come and be with us. And it would have been great if you could have showed up, because I've got your guppies here in a bag. And the safe shipping and the life of a fish. And Bobby George is a member of All Things Aquatic in Alabama, and also I believe Bobby George is a member over at the group Birmingham Aquarium Club on Facebook. So there's thousands of members at these groups, and if you want to get to know each other, and if you all want to participate in a local event, please contact me either on Facebook or through email, score48@yahoo.com, and let us know what your interest is. I'm going to be sharing the PowerPoint slideshow here with y'all in a few minutes. Sheri, while you're watching chat, has there been any comments or anything that I need to address at this time?
They're just saying hello and stay safe during the weather.
And everybody's still hearing me okay, or do I need to speak up, act like I'm yelling?
No one has said anything else about the audio.
Okay, if y'all will just bear with me, I don't have a technician like Jimmy sitting at the helm, so I'm going to slide over and present the slideshow to you guys.
They said sound is good.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. B said it's pretty good for the audio.
All right, thanks. First of all, okay, there's our slideshow. Is it showing up? It's a 15-second delay. So here is our welcome page. Can y'all still hear me? Of course, everybody has been welcomed to the meeting, and the next slide. The left one? Oh, okay, I'm hitting the buttons. Okay, why are we here? Some have asked, is there any fish keeping clubs or gatherings here in Alabama? And some have asked to gather information. Oh, the purpose is to gather information about such, if any exist, or see what others would like. And as I mentioned, there's two groups on Facebook that are kind of dormant as far as participating in person, but there is a lot of conversation on the groups within the chat and comments and sharing of videos and problems, asking for recommendations. And if you wanted to have an opportunity to come out and meet other fish keepers in our hobby and do some swaps and do some door prizes and just help motivate one another to stay in the hobby, or maybe answer some questions, to share with others our interest to participate in a club or to organize some other kind of informal gathering, to find like-minded people to trade our stuff with, and to get inspired and to stay encouraged in our hobby and to reach out to others. And at this time, those that are here, if you wanted to make notes, there's lines underneath of your printout that you can answer any of those questions or fill in your opinions. And the next slide. What are our goals? Our goals are to come to an understanding of what others want and need in their hobby. There are so many different levels of people in the hobby. There's beginners, there's what I call intermediate, there's advanced, and then there's specialists. They are just certain species breeders, or they may not have a fish room set up, but they may have an import type situation set up where they can help us acquire different species for our hobby. And then, you know, our goals is to find out how often will we meet. Will we meet monthly, quarterly, once a year? You know, it's up to you guys. Will we meet with others of different hobbies? For example, reptiles, exotics, freshwater, saltwater species only, etc. I did have a couple people who are reptile breeders. They are boa constrictor breeders. And I just wanted everybody's opinion. Did you want to keep this just fish hobby? Or did you want to include the reptiles or exotics? Because I know then we start getting into regulations. And some fish keepers can't stand reptiles. And we're not picking on anybody, but I sure don't want to be around any snakes myself. But if you are a breeder, you know, we want to stay in touch, but we just want people's opinion. We need your input. To get your input on how often you want to meet, of course, that's a repetition. I'm sorry about that. Do we want to use this same location here in the Bessemer-McCullough area, or do we want to meet further north, closer to Decatur, like where Rick is? Or do we want to move it even further north into the Tennessee Valley area, where a lot of our viewers and YouTube fish fam community are at?
Susan, are we able to move that so it's able to show it more? Because someone said it's blurry.
Move the camera closer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe.
Thank you for your input, guys.
With the delay, it takes a minute to check.
Yeah, it takes about 15 seconds to 20 seconds.
I think that's good.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Sheri. The next slide talks about rules, laws, and or regulations, which I'm not very knowledgeable of. I know my mic probably moved further away too, so let me stand up here next to it. Maybe you can hear me. I'll give you a few seconds to respond.
Or they're saying it's much better.
Okay, first of all, we need to be educated on any regulations and state laws as to species that we keep as far as fish and exotics or reptiles. And we also need to know the regulations for any aquatic plants. Some things are invasive, like duckweed, and I want to say, what was that other floating plant? It's like frogbit, but it's larger than frogbit. It's a floating, some kind of floating wisteria or something like that. But anyway, we know certain plants are invasive in our area, and we need to be educated on that. So I need people's input. I need to know what Alabama website maybe we need to go to. I don't know if it's agriculture or environmental. Also, the rules, if we have an organized group or a society, you know, we need rules, regulations. We need to know if we're going to be having officers, whether we're going to have a membership fee, etc. So this is new in the planning. It's not anything that's been voted on, but these are some things that we need to consider if we're going to organize into some kind of meeting. And who will head these meetings? And will we elect officers and keep it social? I personally prefer to be behind the camera and on the technical end of the screen and the website and answering chat and stuff like that. So Sheri is helping me today, so I appreciate her very, very much.
You're welcome.
But I don't mind coming in the name of Susan for SLC Aquatics, because, you know, that's going to get me some view hours and going to get me some advertisement for my my channel and everything. And I also have a Facebook group too, so not a group but a page. But anyway, I'm just volunteered to front this one, and so I'm looking for volunteers. in our area, like Rick Talley, Molly Reisner, Sheri Sweeney, you know. So I'm looking to be relieved of that.
I think we might have another person.
Yeah, we might have someone else come in. And of course, special guest, Molly couldn't make it, Rick couldn't make it, and I haven't heard from Bobby George. So I will briefly come to you all in a few minutes. And in conclusion, you know, this is what we're going to conclude on the slideshow, and then we're going to go live with the camera again. Thank each and every one of you for coming out today. Thank you for those that are viewing us live on the live stream. I want to thank you for sharing your information, and I want to thank you for your wonderful information and ideas. I want to thank you for your input into this subject of coming together either formally or informally. Hey, Sheri. Hey. And if you wish, you can receive an email about today's decision once we jot everything down and get everybody's input. So again, hold on while I switch from the slideshow back to live camera.
Okay, we did have a question that showed up from Mr. B. He asked if the group is interested in BAP or CARES programs.
What was the first word?
BAP or CARES programs.
Okay, Mr. Bees, the question was if anybody was interested in the BAP or CARES programs, and personally I have no education on that information, and if it's here in the United States, let me know either in chat or send me an email, score48@yahoo.com.
Breeder Award Program.
Okay. All right, I think I'm back. It's a breeder award program. And what is the CARES? Did he say what the CARES program was?
No.
Come over here, Sheri. We're going to put you on camera today. Thank you for coming out. Yep, you're live on the... Sheri's got a new channel name, Sheri's Fishroom, everybody.
Hey, everybody. It's good. Yeah. It's nice to meet y'all.
Do you want to speak to anybody today?
I just want to give a shout out to all my subscribers and everybody that's watching. I really enjoy getting together with everybody, and my fish room's doing great.
Awesome. So that's wonderful. I want to invite you over to the reception table and get your name tag.
Okay.
And we're going to have door drawings here.
Right.
We just went through the slideshow. Make sure you get one of your printouts and a pencil.
I will.
So you can help answer some of these questions.
I wish everybody was here.
Yeah, me too. But, you know, we're under tornado warnings and watches. So anyway.
I've been driving in it a good while.
All right, thanks. Any other questions?
Mr. B said that CARES is a group for the promotion of endangered fish. It's for preserving endangered fish in captivity.
Okay, tell him to shoot me an email, Mr. Bees, and at score48@yahoo.com, and share those links with me so that we can be more informed for the next meeting. And, you know, anything like that. I love environmental protection. I love being able to share and help save maybe some species that are on the red list. And, you know, maybe one day I can get my fish room back up to a scale where I can to breed some species that are becoming extinct in the wild.
Or endangered.
Or endangered, yes. Thanks, Sheri. But anyway, we didn't get a large turnout, but we do have some that came to share with us today, and I'm going to be getting their input, and I may put you all on an intermission while we're doing that and then come back with some of the answers and inputs. Any other suggestions?
Corona Ken said that he's going to send you the minutes from his fish club meetings to see if you can use some of the ideas. And Mr. B said that was a recommendation. When I started the fish club, I invited the local fish and wildlife to talk to us.
Awesome. Yeah, we're just trying to find out if anybody in Alabama wants to actually come out. And I've had some input from those in the groups that they want to come out, but sometimes distance is what keeps them from actually making it to the meetings. Wanted to welcome our new incomer. I'm Susan.
Hi.
Hi. What's your first name?
Lora.
Laura, nice to have you with us. And we're going to be taking a break here if there's no other questions or inputs. Thanks, Ken.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to put you all on intermission. We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, guys, welcome back. We haven't had much time to discuss anything, but basically, oh, I'm not being shot at all. Me, block wheel. Well, I took, who did I take out?
Sheri.
Took out Sheri. Can't get the camera too far away or you won't hear us. But Sheri's Fish Room, Sheri and Will on YouTube, and of course, everybody knows Fish Fam Mom, Susan for SLC Aquatics. And we have a guest, Lori, that's in the house, but she doesn't want to be on camera, so Lora, excuse me. And we want to welcome her also to the meeting. But we thank God for each one of you coming out and being with us. And we haven't had much time to discuss everything. We've pretty much been telling everybody what kind of fish we're keeping. And so within this small group here, we still want your all's input as to whether you want to continue trying to get a meeting going, and do we want to leave it kind of like an informal gathering right now until we get more participants coming out. I would say 10 to 15 people in a crowd, then we can start talking about, are we going to organize, are we going to do this quarterly, or are we going to do it once a year? Because we can get together through emails and make road trips to like to Tennessee.
I think consistency is a good thing.
Consistency.
Quarterly.
Yeah. Yeah, those type of ideas. So make sure you make your notes, because I'm talking. I can't write and talk. But anyway, we got a nice swap table here in the back, and I'm sure Sheri brought in quite a bit.
I did.
Because I saw her bringing her bags out. But looks like the bad little paradise fish is going to be going back home with Susan, so I'm going to have to put him in a tub by himself. And I brought some guppies and some ram's horn snails.
I just don't have a place to put him.
He does better. He doesn't bother the angelfish because, you know, they're large. He does good with larger fish. But if they're the same size of him, he's going to bully them. And like I said, the corridors that I'm trying to get to spawn in my 55, every time they go to spawning, you know, they're quite animated when they spawn. He goes over there and just bumps them and tells them to stop. And I'm like, you're interrupting their private life there.
I have a 100-gallon tank of cichlids that he wouldn't bully nobody.
Yeah, you may not survive very long. No. Do you have a dominant? Who's the dominant in your cichlid tank?
I think it's my bumblebee. He's the biggest one. He's about 7 inches.
Okay.
So he's a black and white fish. You know, they're silver and white, silver and black.
And then they get the stripes.
But then they can turn jet black just in a heartbeat. Usually it's when he's upset.
See, I'm still learning about
But you can just watch him turn colors. It's amazing.
Okay.
But I love him, but I think he's my dominant.
All right. Any questions yet? Did they welcome us back?
They did.
Thank you.
While we were gone, Mr. B said to generate interest, I definitely recommend you create Facebook groups, create a buy and sell section, and get local fish stores to host you, have them offer discounts to members of the club, and he said monthly is too ambitious, so I would say go with quarterly as well.
Yes.
Well, thanks a lot. We're trying to resurrect the group that Molly Reisner kind of like heads it, and it's called All Things Aquatic in Alabama, and I'm trying to resurrect that group because there's over 2,000 members in that group. And then the Birmingham Aquarium Club on Facebook has, I can't remember the count right now, but they have in the thousands members as well. But they have a versatile, you know, both of those groups are very versatile. Some of them are cichlid keepers, some of them are saltwater, some of them are freshwater. And I just need your input, you know, whether do we want to keep this freshwater fish right now, or right now just leave the door open to whoever wants to come out, get their input, and you know, like with our guest today, we want to answer some questions that she may have on starting up. She's got a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old child, and of course some of us have already suggested, you know, betta, but she's kept bettas before. If y'all know of any other beginner fish, I know guppies are beginner fish if you keep just the males. If you don't want to breed them because they're live bearers and they are very prolific breeders,
She knows that from my tank. think.
Yes, you'll have hundreds of them before you know it. But if you just keep the males, they are beautiful to watch. They'll dance for each other, and you know, male guppies are born to breed, so they act like they're breeding with each other, but they're not. They're just doing pecking order, like who. And I like some of the dance. I don't know if you've seen any of the dances with the male guppies before, but they'll get nose to nose, and they'll just rotate.
Yes.
It's like a staring game that they go through. And I love things like that, and when they're doing the pecking order, even in the fry. I mean, they might be the size of a pinhead, and the next thing you know, I've got fry, you know, ranking, like who's gonna win this one. And then the next thing you know, one of them swims off, so the other one's like, yeah, I'm a big dog, you know, no size, no bigger than a quarter of an inch, you know, but he just thinks he's just dominated the whole tank until he runs into an adult. Then he runs for his life. So, I mean, fish can be so entertaining, and we already know about the therapeutic benefits of watching an aquarium. My blood pressure stays down. I can tell when my heart's palpitating, and then after about 5 minutes watching my fish, my pulse has slowed down and everything. So any other questions?
No, New England Endler said that it might help to hit the high schools for members.
Okay,
That's
another
a good idea.
good.
I have grandchildren that's in schools. I can check with them.
Yes. And nursing homes. I have a couple nurses and caregivers who work in nursing homes. And matter of fact, the last wedding I had at the church, the photographer works in a nursing home, and she said, oh, I had a cichlid tank up for them one time, you know. And she said they just stayed around that tank all the time. And we also know some of our YouTuber guys, I don't want to call names right now because I get the names wrong, but for veterans, sometimes we can maybe go to a VA hospital and talk to the right personnel about putting some tanks out for them and see if any of the veterans want to come out. You know, you're going to have to deal with personality issues sometimes, PTSD type people. We just need to be aware when you open up your environment for volunteers to come out, you might, you know, and we need to know, you know, I thank God for Will being here, that if there was any trouble that arose, you know, he could help us handle that. And God forbid that we would have to ever call for a police assistance during a meeting. But whenever you open up, you just have to be aware of those environments. I don't know if anybody's ever had any problems in a group meeting, in a club meeting. I know just from personalities on the groups, you can run into some really harsh people. And that's why when I don't want to be a president, I don't want to organize this. I will host it, but I don't want to organize it because I am not a confrontational type person, and I rely on the Holy Spirit a lot of times to help quiet a ruckus. And a lot of times a soft answer turns away wrath, as the Bible says. So I hope we never have any issues like that. And if we do, we need to probably talk about how we would handle it. You got any suggestions?
No.
Put them out. Put them out and lock the door. I mean, those are social issues.
Be like Survivor and pick them out.
Yeah, yeah.
Your flame has been extinguished.
Let my taekwondo kick back in. But anyway.
That's one of my favorite shows.
I appreciate all of the advice and suggestions that you guys are doing. We're still crawling. We're not ready to get off of our feet, you know, up on our feet with this group. But if anybody has anything else to say, I want to go ahead and kind of wrap up this meeting on the live stream so that we can get home safely and not be out in any tornadoes. But I appreciate everybody who showed up on the internet, and those of you that showed up. You know, my heart goes out to you, and I really do appreciate each and every one of you. So, anything else in the chat?
New England Endler said, post no drugs or booze or politics allowed. This is a family-friendly event.
You're
That's a good idea.
Thank you, New England Endler. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This is Susan for SLC Aquatics. Thank you, guys, again for coming out. Get tongue-tied. And I'll be seeing y'all on Tuesday night, 6 p.m., my regular spot. And we hope y'all have a great weekend. Thank you.
Talk to you on the tube.
Thank you.